it's health things. And so maybe it's the will of self-love, but I'm not sure. But I'd like to bring up two examples of something that, it seems to be repeating itself, and it has in the past too. So situation one, Shawn knows that I'm in this group, this showstopper group, where we dance and we perform for seniors and seniors doing that. So Tuesday was a rehearsal, and I was doing this, I don't know if you want to call it jitterbug or jive or something with the my partner. And I know that, and Shawn and I, well, I have pretty bad osteoporosis and I have some other issues and this and that. Well, I was kind of I was dancing hard, and I shouldn't have. Okay, I was having fun. So then shortly when I got home, oh, it hurt. And so what happened is that beating up of myself, that's what Shawn teaches us, and I've been forgetting it lately. So I
Oh, I
was
teach you to beat yourself up. That's you said
no, no,
beating up
no.
on
So I
myself.
mean, yeah, she does that right there about not forsaking our littlest self and all of that. And so I was, oh, I shouldn't see if I hadn't done it. It's my fault. It's my fault. I should have known better. And I was just so mad at myself, and I was uh, angry, and I was just blaming myself. And it wasn't so much the pain, it was just that I was forsaking myself, whatever. And then 2 days later, was getting a massage because of my back and everything. And I've had some leg treatments for varicose veins where they inject stuff. And so I was getting this massage, and I told her in the beginning, don't touch there or something. And I guess she forgot. And so then she started massaging up, it was on my thigh. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say, don't touch that. Sure enough, when I got home, it was all black and blue there. And bottom line, it's not that big of a deal, I guess. But I was again to myself, why didn't you say something? And it wasn't that it hurt or that it was black and blue. It was that I was saying, oh, why didn't you say something? See, you could have avoided this. This could have been avoided. And just like the back thing, it could have been avoided, and you didn't. So I'm kind of back to doing that again. So it's about me. It's not like another person. So
Right.
sometimes that's
No,
more
and
the
that's
real
fine. I mean, we are going to work on the wheel of self-love tomorrow.
stuff tomorrow.
So yeah, it's a good example if you can come tomorrow. But let's just take a moment with that, because first of all, I just have a lot of compassion for you. And I know that anything that has been chronic, or because of the osteoporosis, you could be scared that you've created a fracture, or, it's like big, scary stuff. And I, having had chronic conditions, know that there is fear almost built in. There is this uncertainty about what we can do, what we can't do. And then when things go badly, we beat ourselves up. And then when they go well, oh, we're finally getting caught up. We're finally feeling good enough to do stuff. And then we push ourselves into a worse place. So
And
it's
then you
really,
do it, and then so there's that balance of right.
yeah,
And
those cycles are really people who have only had acute things, a flu, a broken arm, things that are gonna, there they are, and then they get better. Don't understand always those dynamics of chronic,
and then
chronic,
I've got that with my stomach thing too,
right,
so then I can
exactly.
beat
Oh,
myself up about that
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Just almost built in where we want to, the mind. I like to say in my books, I'm writing, I have these two books that are done, and the third one is too, but they're we're working on this publication thing. But anyway, I always like to say that we use hindsight as a cruel weapon of self-destruction. I mean, how unfair is that? To go later, if you hadn't been hurting the next day, you would, or whenever it was, you would have said,
Yeah.
oh my God, that was so fun
Right.
yesterday. I
I'm
got to
so glad I
really
got to.
I had so much fun. I'm still alive. I'm just going for it. Isn't that great? But because it went that way, then we learned early to turn on ourselves. And this whole blame shame polarity is just like, that just has no business in reality in a way, just like a thing that we came up with. But we can't predict the future. We don't know where it's going. So we give our mind credit when things go well, and we give our mind blame when things go wrong. And we didn't there's not necessarily a direct cause effect relationship between these things. So anyway, but I know that that's hard. And what we want to do is, for example, you can do probably a really revealing piece of work by doing the wheel of self-love on the one, why didn't I say something, when she was doing that on my leg. So with the wheel of self-love, we'll go back, and I may have you repeat this tomorrow if nobody raises their hands. But so I like to use the little pointers. Where is Duncan? Anyway, so you go back to the you that you were in that moment. Yeah, who were you? You were laying on the table. Okay, there's the you were in that moment. You're sideways. All right, so who were you in that moment when she started massaging your thigh? What were you believing? So the first step of the wheel of self-love is, what was I thinking? Not what the hell was I thinking, is curiosity. Wow, what was I thinking? What was I believing?
Are you asking me?
Yep.
Oh, I was thinking I was relaxed, and then I was thinking, oh, it's okay. She's not pressing that hard. Eh, don't be such a big baby. Oh, I was being yeah, I was relaxed, and I just thought, it'll be all right.
I mean, you've dealt enough with health problems that I know you don't like the drama to be around your health. You're like, I don't want to have to say anything.
Uh,
I'm so relaxed. She's not pushing that hard. Okay, that's what you were believing. Given what you were believing,
uh,
it made total sense that you didn't say anything.
yeah, that I didn't say. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you come back later and beat that one up. That's you you're beating up there. That was you doing absolutely the best you could, given what you were believing. Given we don't create the thoughts, but as long as they're there, that's a lens you're looking through. You could not have acted any other way. I mean, you could have. A thought could have come in that said, no, I better say something. And then you would have said something. But you didn't have that thought. You only had those thoughts, which your reality was, nah, we're good. I'm letting this one go, and we're going to hope for the best. But then when the best didn't happen, you
Yeah.
go, use hindsight as a cruel weapon of self-destruction.
Yeah. The
How
same thing was
unfair.
with the dance, because when I was dancing, it didn't hurt. And I was thinking, hey, yeah, I guess I'm recovering. I'm fine. Or I wasn't thinking anything.
I mean, I created a kind of a TED Talk thing. It was recorded recently, and I'm going to also give it in Costa Rica for that new peace thing. It was just about, what is that, where we learned early that the minute somebody is unhappy or uncomfortable, the minute things didn't go the way we planned, and we turn it on ourselves. And not everybody does that. There's the blamers and the shamers. And yet even the blamers, when you get down in there, are very hard on themselves. So, but again, that's almost those self-sabotage styles from the quiz that y'all took kind of fall into two camps. What's your first go-to thing when things go wrong? You look for who to blame, or you turn against yourself. So, and sometimes it depends on the situation, but usually there's kind of a go-to thing. So anyway, it seems super unfair of us to do that to ourselves when you really think about it. So I don't know, somehow. Okay, so but then there's fear around that. So the step two is step one is, what was I thinking? Step two is, what am I fearing? The only reason we would ever go into regret is because of fear. We fear I caused this thing that I don't want, and I have only myself to blame. So anyway, so what are you fearing? What's your story then?
And
To do
then,
steps.
yeah, so I'm fearing that I've caused another, another compression fracture. And oh no, I'm not going to be able to do anything now. And my life is shrinking. And yeah.
So that's kind of a combination of future and worst case. So Linda, and yesterday we went over these 4 simple thought types that spell COST. And the T one is time. So there you are. You remember, so Rose called me the night before leaving for Paris. Stopped my car and we sat there and did this for an hour. And she's still going to take me out to dinner, by the way.
I owe you a dinner.
French restaurant. Anyway, that same thing happened the night before she left for France. She was dancing, she was having fun, and
Was
then
I dancing when I hurt my foot? Okay, go on.
and you really were so hard on yourself, and you were projecting so much fear onto the France trip. And we did the work, and you got, this, we found your innocence, we faced your fear, and you found ways to find that no matter what, I'm gonna love the trip exactly the way it is. I might be sitting on a park bench watching people, and that's gonna be the best trip to France I ever had. You got to the place where you were ready to embrace reality, you forgave yourself for having fun, and then tell them what happened in the end.
Oh, well, I was fine then. And my friend was the one and I was also concerned about her, that she was going to have to deal with me. And it turned out that
Yeah,
she
you
had
saw
some
her as the die-hard traveler who was going to be in shape, and you would be holding her back. And it turns out you were fine, and
and
she
she
was the
was
one who
fine.
was hurt. And
And that
so,
was okay, because I just slowed down for her, and we did, we still had a good time. She would have slowed down for me, but I didn't see that
yeah, but
when
still, so
before I
that was a
called you.
this is where we got to start taking in the data. If we had a financial planner that was calling the shots wrong as much as our mind does when it predicts the future, we would fire that person. We wouldn't listen to them anymore. Yeah, put your money there. You're going to make a fortune, whatever. So there's got to keep taking in the data. I remember the Paris situation, but I'm not sure you did when it came to this. Is, oh, wait, my fear of the future and my stories about the fracture and all that are creating angst in the here and now. I have no idea. Allison says, time to fire your monkey mind.
Mhm. But
So,
that really does cause the anxiety, that too. Yeah. And then I get anxious. I'm very, the anxiety is there.
yeah, and that's in the here and now. Everything's fine except a story. I should have done it differently. I'm bad. I caused this, and I caused this what? This thing I'm fearing in the future that hasn't even happened yet.
That's
So
right.
again, that T is pay attention. Are you in the past? Are you in the future? You will be suffering.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so then if we get to step 3 of the wheel of self-love, this is a tricky one because sometimes you feel like you've done or said something that's possibly hurt someone else, and you want them to forgive you, to see your good motives, to whatever. And so step 3 is we make a list of what do you want from others or life, so that you're okay and forgivable, and then you give that to yourself. So what do you want from life right now? In the wake of, yes, it happened, yes, I did that. And I've got compassion. I forgave myself for just lying on the table, because I know, I mean, maybe you're not there yet, but if you really sit in it, you really do say, wow, there's nothing to forgive. I did what came to me to do in the moment in both cases. And I was having an actual nice time in both cases. It made sense that I did what I did. So you've forgiven yourself. You faced your fears. Okay, with the step 2, I forgot to say that you have to go all the way to worst case scenario. So we can say, well, can you absolutely know you're going to have a compression fracture? No. Okay, so you get the first part of it is getting that you get that your mind does not have a crystal ball. Then the second part is, okay, the mind will go, yeah, but it could. What if? And then I won't ever be able to do all these things again. You take yourself all the way to worst case scenario. That's what we did with France. We went all the way.
Yeah.
So even
So
and you go, okay, can I absolutely know that I'll be suffering?
can I absolutely know that I'll suffer if I'm in a wheelchair because I've caused compression fractures and I can't do anything? No, no. Maybe I'll be happy somebody can take care of me and I'll meet a man who pushes me around in my wheelchair.
You can't know. You might not even live that long, you just like just that none of it's true. So anyway, but yeah, you painted a pretty bleak picture there. But yeah, no, but you really, you are the life of the party from the very first time I met you, and a New Year's Eve thing, in fact.
Mhm.
And I know you will always bring joy where you go, and if you're in a place where a whole lot of other people are stuck in wheelchairs and yet you have this work, so you'll know you're so good at facilitating, you'll know how to help them feel better. And that might be the most important work you've done in your life. You just never know. And you wouldn't have been able to be there if you hadn't had that damn compression fracture. Because although thank God I danced that day so that I could be here,
Oh,
being
yeah.
the light being the light for all these people. So anyway, the last part then is, since there are no others involved, no other
Yeah.
people who really want to forgive you, what do you want life to give you so that you'll know you're okay?
Mm.
Or how do you want your body to show up?
Well,
What outcome would
I want to be, I just want to be healthy. I mean, it keeps going to that. I still am
right?
stuck in
That's
wanting to be healthy.
yeah. So I think healthy is a lot of your definition too. So if you want to be healthy, then give yourself healthy, like in every moment almost. And
Yeah.
so how do you do that? So if you what you want is to be healthy, then know that healthy is a state of mind. Because as you get older and more, Katie would always say, okay, which do you want? Which you're gonna bet on? A gorgeous, healthy, strong, beautiful body, or a gorgeous, healthy, strong, beautiful mind? In the race of
You
life.
can't have both.
You can for a while, but bodies eventually, you know. I
Yeah.
know some people that have lived to be really old, but bodies eventually start to. So when we get to the place where we just know, bring it on, whatever, I'm going to be and stay as healthy as I can. And yet, if I'm just resisting, no, 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 don't let that happen. Don't let that stress fracture, instead of, hey, ooh, that's my new phase of life. Me in a wheelchair.
Or whatever.
Yeah, you could be the healthiest wheelchair bound person we know,
Yeah.
and the happiest
Yeah.
if you were.
Yeah, I think the will of self, like this morning I was trying to do the questions, how do you feel when you believe, blah, 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 blah. And of course, I knew I felt really crappy if I believed that I should have said something or I shouldn't have danced or all of that. How do you feel if you don't have that belief? And yeah, I knew I would feel, but then I still sunk back. I think I didn't stay with the
It
question.
is, if it's pointing
I
at
think,
yourself and the will of self-forgiveness. But yeah, it's just so in a way health robbing when we turn on. I think that my radically radiant health and boundless energy and pain-free that I am most of the time now came as a result of not only being able to question the thoughts that were scaring me, but not turning on myself. I mean, I think the autoimmune conditions a lot come from, they follow suit. Our mind turns on ourselves and our body says, okay, that's what we're supposed to do. Um, you know, let's create some arthritis over here. So not to say that I'm blaming anybody, but it's just, it does seem like things get a lot better when we have that forgiving attitude toward ourselves and we can find our own innocence. We are all rooting for you to relax on that table. But actually, Rose, why the hell didn't you say something to her? I'm a little mad at you. No, no, sometimes
Told her
that.
in the beginning, don't touch that.
Yeah, but notice too, watch this too. That whole thing of us beating ourselves up, usually there's anger at somebody else. Remember, your dad was unconfrontable. So you kind of had to learn to turn it on yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Things would
Zip
have
that
gotten a
lip.
lot worse if I opened
She's
my
the
mouth. Yeah.
practitioner. I don't want to offend her. Yeah, it's just like that's where I was going to go with this in the beginning was there's a childhood wound that would keep you from speaking up. That's where I was saying, what were you thinking and believing? And it could be a childhood wound that keeps you from being able to speak up. And you want to be so compassionate for that part of you. What you said was basically, hey, it made sense not to say anything, but there might have been a little people pleasing going on in there where you didn't want to offend her. And
Right.
so
And the
just
thing about also turning on myself, I can also remember when I was young, like if I fell and got a skinned knee, my parents would yell at me and say, "Why were you running?" So that's also, it's my fault when I get hurt. So I think that's still
oh, I had just the
coming.
shoulda. My mom was queen of should have. And in her case, she was just looking to save me, didn't want me to hurt, didn't want me to, and
Yeah.
it's just, well, you
Right.
should have done this, or why didn't you ask me? And it just caused me to not trust my own judgment or trust the outcomes, or they just, so anyway.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.